We are facing an epidemic of weak men. Men who wake up, hop on their favorite app, and oh, would you look at that? Booba! So they rub their pee-pee on their blanket, then rush off to go do the bare minimum at school or work. They get home, eager to hop on one of their 5 sources of cheap dopamine to fill their mind for the next few hours. And it's time to rub the pee-pee again and go to bed. Need to rest up for the next day. But despite the constant mashing of these pleasure buttons in their brain, they are unhappy. They're still fully aware of their lack of control in life, their lack of power. And this sense of powerlessness transcends far past just the degenerates of this world. Almost every man will face a feeling like this, because the answer to self-improvement, fulfillment, happiness, and perhaps even life itself isn't cold showers, quitting porn, or reading books. It is through the seeking and gaining of power. Now, I know the word power will offend some people because they just see it as the Machiavellian sense of tyrannical and corrupt and evil. But in this video, I'm going to explain the true source of power that we need and the best way to get it. I was a weak teenager, lacking physical power just due to my frail frame and being super skinny, as well as my lack of mental power due to my inability to control my addictions to pornography and video games. And most importantly, I couldn't even control my own emotions. I was a slave to not only my ego, but any external adversities that attacked me in life. Because of this, deeply rooted insecurities were created. But hey, at least I'm slightly better than some of my friends at video games. However, like we'll find that we all do, I had a deep yearning for power. Fueled by my insecurity, I'm seeking power through intellectual superiority over others. And not through something productive like self-education. I was just belittling others. You know, just talking shit to my friends about other kids in school who, looking back, always had something I lacked, such as muscles, confidence, or attention from girls. I even remember being rude to my own close friends, being passive aggressive, just poking fun at their thought process or their decisions, essentially indirectly being like, oh, you're stupid, huh, I'm smart. Lacking any awareness on how to properly gain power, I'm projecting my insecurities onto others instead of developing myself. Luckily, it did not stay that way and eventually got introduced to the gym and begun lifting weights. Quite literally gaining physical power in terms of weights, but also mental power in terms of this new surface level of confidence that these little muscles unlocked. Sure, my initial motivators still stemming from insecurity and wanting attention from girls, but I was realizing that true power comes from self-overcoming. The exact idea that French philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche held in his concept of will to power. Not to be confused with just the will to live that even Nietzsche said was too beta of a goal to have. Based. He says that will to power is this irrational drive that everyone has within themselves. So basically, we got that dog in us. This force can be channeled into different things, but essentially all these things have to result in an increase in one's power. Sounds pretty similar to what we're doing in our self-development journey, doesn't it? So then what exactly is the will to power? Power tends to get a bad rap because, like I said earlier, people typically envision the tyrannical way of just pushing those under you to enact your own selfish desires, you know, like the federal government. As Nietzsche said, the will of the weak to represent some form of superiority, their instinct for devious paths to tyranny. You know, like the federal government. The truly powerful don't need to inflict suffering onto others to prove to them or themselves that they are powerful. But of course, one could and will possess power over others and it not stemming from weakness. A great example of this being Stoic philosopher and emperor of Rome, Marcus Aurelius, who clearly had power over his people, but they respected him, and he is now known as one of the greatest leaders of Rome. Plus, it's important that we don't confuse avoiding negative means of power with being a pushover and not standing up for yourself, such as when Aurelius's close friend Cassius tried taking the title of Caesar from him by going around and spreading the lie that Aurelius died. However, when Marcus heard about this plot, he did not react emotionally, you know, because he's a Stoic. In fact, when he first heard the news, he did nothing. And then he calmly marched his troops onto Cassius, not to kill him, but just to capture him. And he even said that he would forgive Cassius and hoped to remain his friend. Damn. Nietzsche purposely never gives an exact definition of what power is because it's different for all of us. It's a very individualistic thing. The weightlifter who gets stronger increases his power. So does the soldier who improves his shot, the meditator who increases his awareness, the boxer who improves his jab, and the teenager who stops beating their meat like a monkey. It is the endless leveling up of ourselves that we are born to do as men. So what about the people who forgo chasing power? What happens to them? Well, they are who makes up most of the world pretty much. They're not that individualistic. They operate on a herd mentality, just kind of following everyone else. They are controlled by fear because they are scared of taking risks and they are scared of becoming anything remarkable of themselves. Thus, they doom themselves to a life of mediocrity and unhappiness because they lack control. They lack power in their life. What's funny about a lot of these people is they still try through cheap means to gain power. The best example is something we're all too familiar with nowadays with people, and that is victimhood. We will all face adversity and it will vary from person to person. However, these people just make a spectacle of it. Instead of seeing it as something to overcome and thus raise their power, they want to control everyone else's emotions around the situation and thus increase their power. Nietzsche wrote, "Ask yourself whether that ready complaining and whimpering, that making a show of misfortune, does not, at bottom, aim at making the spectator miserable. The pity which the spectator then exhibits." Basically, they're cringe as fuck. So here are my core principles that we can follow to gain power. Number 1, prioritize yourself. This is where the phrase, "just focus on yourself, bro," gets the actual depth. Embrace the individualism of will to power. Maintain your character above all else, your morals, your beliefs, and your goals. The Stoics were experts at this because they literally paid no mind to anything outside of their control, and it is completely fruitless to worry about anyone else's control or power. Sure, you can have healthy competition with others, that's typically a great motivator and driver, but never let it create resentment within your mind. Our best enemy will always be the weaker version of ourselves, our own antithesis. There's this other Stoic known as Epictetus who says, "It isn't the tyrant that is chaining your leg that is the problem, but you valuing your own leg over your character. Whoever holds his leg in high regard will beg for mercy, whereas the person who cares more for his character will answer back, go ahead and chain it if that's what you want." Which of course is a very extreme example, but it shows the lengths we should be prepared to go to maintain control over our mind and our character, which grants us freedom because all that we care about is within our own control, and thus we control all that matters. The best mental exercise to build stoicism is easily meditation because it teaches you to detach from these negative thoughts and emotions as well as increase your presence and your focus. If you're interested, I have a free 5-day guided meditation series in the description below. Check it out if you want. Number 2 is provide value. Just as countries gain power through providing resources, we gain power through providing value. This can be through skills you master because other people will require them for something or want you to teach them the skills. You can provide goods and services that solve problems for others, which is the basis of business. You can be an inspiration to others as you gain power and inspire them. That is valuable. And it can even be as simple as just being a good person whose presence brings joy to those around them. Obviously, there's going to be levels to this. When I was just a cashier at a grocery store, my value wasn't very high because all I had to do was operate the cash register and bag groceries, whereas my power as a content creator would be higher because I'm providing self-development, valuable content to thousands of people. And I'm currently working on my mental mastery class to provide even deeper value to you guys. Providing value is going to be the key to networking, which is also going to increase your power. There's a reason so many big names sell some form of a mastermind networking group because they know the value and power gained from having a strong network. Essentially, you are out there providing value and you will cross paths with others who are out there providing value, and friendships will form and values will be shared. And over time, you will have a brotherhood of men that you can call upon. So remember that providing power to others raises your own. Number 3, we have to seek out discomfort. Everyone is out seeking instant pleasure and comfort, but we both know that this will not elicit true happiness or fulfillment. The path to power will be laden with obstacles and suffering. What human beings want is an increase of power. Driven by that, they will seek resistance. They need something that opposes it. Displeasure as an obstacle to their will to power is therefore a normal fact. Human beings do not avoid it. They are rather in continual need of it. Nietzsche. I'm not going to ramble about embracing suffering because I explained it in my last video. However, we must understand that the more adversity we face, the more power we gain. So the suffering, the adversity that we face holds just as much importance and meaning as the power itself. Number 4, play the infinite game. In life, there are finite games and infinite games. Finite games have a set time frame, set rules, and a set goal. While an infinite game has a start, but no end. Infinite goals and rules that can change. For example, when I was trying to hit a 4-plate deadlift, I was playing a finite game. Once I hit it, it was done. However, my fitness journey in its entirety is an infinite game for me. There is no finish line, and if I were to just stop because I won or something, I would lose a lot of the benefits anyways. Most people try to do everything in life as a finite game with this mindset of, oh, I'm just gonna do this till I get here and then I'm gonna go do that. This works for certain things, but for the main games like business, fitness, education, which are all means of raising your power, it needs to be infinite for you to gain the maximum benefits from it. The biggest infinite game the main game that all the other little games can fall within is going to be your will to power. Because there is no max power level and we will never be satisfied with our current. We have to overcome our own accomplishments and just keep climbing. Some may view this as toxic hustle culture mentality, and perhaps that can be true for those that are trying to play a finite game. But we understand from the get-go that this is forever and we embrace it. Once we start making big decisions with this mindset, we will see an increase in our intention, our enjoyment, and our fulfillment of purpose. Number 5 is practice gratitude. For some, their quenchless thirst for power will lead them down a path of emptiness and despair because they are not grateful for any achievements or results of their power so far. Practicing gratitude is necessary because without it, we fail to appreciate the rising of our power and the adversity we faced to achieve that. Thus, it would begin to lose meaning, and without purpose to the suffering, everything falls apart. Plus, if you ever do gain power or influence over others, being thankful is a great way to keep your ego in check and your intentions pure. So when life gives you lemons, say thank you. And as a little bonus, number 6 is Nietzsche's idea of sublimation. Essentially, this is the idea of transformation or transitioning. He saw that something seen as primal or improper, such as sexual desire, can be satisfied through other means, not actually doing the act itself. And this correlates strongly to the idea of sexual transmutation that Napoleon Hill talks about in his book, Think and Grow Rich, which all of this can be interpreted as Carl Jung's idea of implementing the shadow self. Instead of trying to run or escape or eliminate these ideas, these drives, these impulses, we can master it, control it, and transmute it into just a source of raw energy towards our true purpose. So full power comes not from battling against these impulses, but by becoming the master of them, full control over it. Obviously, certain people will get impulses that are just morally wrong, and this is stemming from an insecure ego, but all of that can be spotted and taken care of just by practicing mindfulness. Meditation is the best method for this, link in the description. Power is not something to be ashamed of desiring. It is embedded into us. We are that which must always overcome itself. Through understanding our will to power, prioritizing our character, providing value, seeking discomfort, and being grateful, we can play this infinite game extremely well. That is all I got for you. I hope you learned something. Please consider checking out my Twitter or my Instagram. We got a lot of new subscribers over here on the channel, and everyone be sleeping on the other social medias. So maybe if I got some people going over there, you know, I'd want to run it up, put more stuff out and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? That's really it though. We out here playing this infinite game and shit. We out here raising our power, forming networks and brotherhoods, and the